If any Eagles fans somehow happen upon this video, I'm going to warn you. Unless you're a masochist, you should probably click away now, because it's time to fawn over Justin Jefferson. In April, the Minnesota Vikings selected Jefferson with the 22nd pick in the NFL draft, making him the 5th receiver taken. He went one spot behind TCU's Jalen Reagor, whom Philadelphia chose 21st overall. Not only did Jefferson quickly outpace every other rookie receiver in 2020, but he actually almost quadrupled Reagor's yardage output. Comparing Jefferson to his fellow 2020 draft mates is ultimately useless and somewhat disrespectful because he was one of the best wide receivers in the NFL in general in 2020. Saying he was the best rookie is simply selling him short, even despite the promising play of other rookies like Brandon Ayuk, T. Higgins, and Chase Claypool. In a year with spectacular wide receiver play across the board from dominant players like DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams, and DK Metcalf, the 21-year-old still hung with the very best of them, even Stefon Diggs, whom the Vikings traded to Buffalo in the offseason for the first-round pick that they used on Jefferson. Critique the process or how Diggs' exit from Minnesota was handled all you want, but the deal turned out to be the ultimate win-win trade in NFL history. The Bills got a receiver in his prime who was the perfect complement for Josh Allen's game, as Diggs led the league in catches and yards. Meanwhile, the Vikings rid themselves of someone who no longer wanted to be there and replaced him with a younger, cheaper option who came in and produced at roughly the same rate immediately. Any rookie who performed well in 2020 likely would have received some deserved extra recognition, considering teams had no preseason or training camps to speak of. People have understandably been more lenient on youngsters who haven't quite grasped the NFL game right away. This is what makes Jefferson's season even more special. He reportedly struggled in camp and he came off the bench in the Vikings' first 2 games behind Olabisi Johnson, putting up just 5 grabs for 70 yards and 2 losses. Then, week 3 happened and Jefferson never looked back. He compiled 7 catches for 175 yards and a 71-yard touchdown against the Titans. It was his first of 7 100-yard days on the season, including another dominant 9 for 166 and 2 affair on just 11 targets 3 weeks later against the Falcons. By season's end, Jefferson had put up 88 catches, 1,400 receiving yards, and 7 touchdowns. His yardage mark was good for the 4th best in the entire NFL, even while playing on a Vikings team that threw the 6th fewest passes in the league. Jefferson made the most of his limited opportunities in 2020. He was 9th in yards per reception, and he was 4th in yards per target with an 11.2 average, behind 3 guys who each saw limited action. In terms of yards per route run, he jumped all the way up to 2nd place in the NFL, behind only Devontae Adams, who had a historic year for the Packers. Jefferson finished the season 7th in DVOA, which measures value per play, and he was 2nd in DYAR, which measures total value. He was also PFF's 2nd highest graded receiver, again coming behind only Adams. Jefferson was able to have such a successful season because he's a complete player at the position. Coming into the draft, he got a bit of an unfair rap in my opinion because he was largely labeled just as a contested catch receiver. Jefferson is indeed a contested catch monster, as he had a 92.3 success rate in those situations in his final season at LSU, but again, that's selling him short. Oftentimes, if a receiver is labeled a contested catch player, it means that he can't get open, but that couldn't be further from the truth with Jefferson. Just like his predecessor in Minnesota, Jefferson is as likely to embarrass a DB with his silky smooth route running as he is with his excellence at the catch point. Jefferson, like another elite receiver Devontae Adams, as I detailed in my recent video on him, often begins routes with the universally hated by coaches everywhere hop step or skip step. Jefferson uses this move to his advantage to quickly read the defender's actions before flying off into his actual route. He's another of the rare ones talented enough to turn this much maligned method into a strength. Being such a route running maestro lends itself to all areas of Jefferson's game. Despite having the 7th lowest deep ball percentage in the NFL, his 467 yards on those deep targets was the 4th best. He had the best catch percentage in the league on deep targets thanks to the fact that he caught all 14 of what PFF deemed his catchable targets. Meanwhile, Jefferson also had the 4th best YAC above expectation mark in the league per next-gen stats. He is truly a complete receiver. But how does all that talent stack up in the annals of NFL history? You probably won't be shocked to hear that it does very well. Jefferson's 1,400 yards is the 2nd most receiving yards by a rookie ever. It's the most since the merger, but I will not stand for Bill Groman erasure. The AFL counts too. Still, 1,400 yards is nothing to scoff at, as it eclipsed Randy Moss's long-held franchise record of 1,313 from 1998. But it's not just volume either. Jefferson's yards per game mark is still the 4th best of any rookie. His 88 catches is also the 6th most all-time for a rookie ever, though of the 5 guys ahead of him, only Michael Thomas had fewer targets. Therefore, his yards per target number is the 3rd best in NFL history for a rookie, behind only A.J. Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster's marks. Jefferson also has the 2nd highest PFF grade for any rookie receiver since 2006, which is as far back as PFF currently has grades for. He sits mere 10th places behind Odell Beckham Jr. from his legendary rookie year in 2014. Finally, Jefferson's DYAR total value mark is also the 4th best for a rookie ever since 1985, as far back as Football Outsiders has statistics for. Now, it's hard for me to imagine any rookie receiver ever surpassing the ridiculous seasons Moss and Beckham put up in 1998 and 2014 respectively, especially considering Moss's scoring dominance and the fact that OBJ missed 4 whole games. But Justin Jefferson came about as close to matching them in 2020 as any player possibly could have. Even while playing in an offense that seeks to minimize the passing game as much as possible, Jefferson was able to put up numbers that instantly put him in the top tier of elite receivers in the NFL, even surpassing what his predecessor ever did in Minnesota, great as he is. Jefferson's 1,400 yards are the 4th best mark ever for a Vikings receiver, rookie or otherwise, and it's the best mark ever for a Viking not named Randy Moss. The sky is the limit from here for Justin Jefferson because he's a truly great all-around threat at the position, and he has no weaknesses. Hopefully, just like Stephon Diggs, we can continue to see him grow and flourish in the future in an offense that totally embraces his elite skill set.